loyal Antil readers will know that I am a closet fan of zombie fiction. In fact, yes, I'm a cliche. As a 24-year-old, I wrote my short script and stuck it in a drawer, never to be seen again. So I'm very privileged to be joined by Ben Powell, one of the co-founders of IRL Shooter. Now, if you haven't heard about this, it is like skirmish, like laser tag, but you are screaming around a live-action environment, let's just say killing zombies. But zombies are already dead, so I don't know if you're killing them. A fascinating story, raised the money through Pozible. Yep. Brilliant idea. Just tell us very briefly, Ben, what is IRL Shooter?
IRL Shooter is a real-life, multiplayer, first-person shooter role-playing game. Say that 5 times quick. So you and 5 of your friends go through a 12,000 square metre warehouse that we have out in Broadmeadows that's been set up with film-quality sound, lighting, and art, of course, art direction. Yeah. And you shoot actors dressed as zombies, and you've got a mission to complete and time. You've got to get through it and shoot them all. So
it's real actors. You're running around. You got the laser tag outfit. You're all dressed up like soldiers. Yep. There's a backstory which we'll get into. You've got these actors, and they're like gymnasts and professional.
Yeah, a lot of them are circus performers, gymnasts, martial artists, professional performers, so they know how to fall, they know how to scream. Oh God, some of the lungs on some of these people. They know how to run and jump and all this sort of thing. So yeah, you're kitted up in the grey area protective services, as we'll talk about in a moment. Kit, you don't have the usual laser tag vest on. We've built everything, because these are all custom-made guns that we've built, which are very realistic. So everything is in the gun. So all your sensors, all the technology is in that. So you don't have cable coming off, because
and being attacked by live zombie actors screaming, doing backflips and doing theatrical dives. Well, they're not deaths because they're zombies. I think
yes. You're putting them out of their misery.
Putting them out of their misery. The money was raised through Pozible, which is a crowdfunding site. It's the Australian version, I guess, of Kickstarter. Yeah. Tell me how that came about. And what was the story and what happened?
Oh, well, the 3 of us were, Dave, Drew and myself, were talking in a pub one night over a couple of beers and some pizza, and we came up with the idea and we just started fleshing it out, and this is how we're going to do it. But how are we going to pay for it? Which is going to be an issue, because this sort of thing is not cheap. Yeah. So I've been involved in online marketing, digital marketing for a long time. And I thought, well, let's give it a go crowdfunding. So we did the initial, we came up with the idea mid-June. 2 days later, we had the domain name. And 2 weeks later, we had the crowdfunding site up. And that had video and text and all those photos and images and stuff like that. And within the 74 days, the 60 days, we'd raised $240,000.
6 days, so 2 months, $240,000 in crowdfunding. What was the average amount that people were investing?
Well, people were purchasing tickets to the event.
Yeah, okay.
So it was $125. Yeah. But we also, and it was interesting for anyone out there who's looking at doing crowdfunding, having different price points of the same. So purchasing one, purchasing multiples of one. We found that there was a lot of different interesting kind of things, like people would buy multiples rather than just an individual. So because it was an event and you were in 6, rather than I'm buying my ticket and then you're buying your ticket and then Pete's buying his ticket, it really was one person bought the ticket for everyone and just dealt with it themselves.
It's really interesting when you're watching what's successful and what's not. The ones where you say this is what you get, and it's very clear this is what you get, seem to be popular. Also the ones, as you say, where you say this is how you can involve your friends. Why don't what that watch that went crazy? Is it get your friend this watch by investing? The Pebble watch, which my brother-in-law got. That was a Kickstarter one. Now quickly, why did you go Pozible and not Kickstarter?
Well, Pozible is an Australian-centric crowdsourcing campaign site. So as an Australian company, just a local Australian, it was very easy. Just set up a site and off you go. Kickstarter is American-centric, so you need an American bank account, you need an American LLC registration. So it's not particularly easy. I know that there's quite a few Australian startups, not quite a few, but there have been some Australian startups who have circumvented the issue and gone with an American company. There was a software, and I think a company, and they did like 1.2 million or something like that. So but we were a Melbourne-centric event.
And at the end of the day, you're not going to get someone in New York getting their tickets for the zombie thing when they're from Melbourne. So Pozible was a more logical option.
Actually, we did get a few US people who purchased tickets and flew over for the event. Wow. Yeah, a couple of guys from France, a couple of Canadians. So it was a good idea, I guess.
The appeal of zombie. Now, the other thing that I think that you did really well, this is a marketing question. It wasn't just the simplicity. It wasn't just the simplicity of putting together the event. You created a backstory, an entire world that involved multiple websites.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the initial idea was for two things. One, I kind of wanted to appeal to the very, very dedicated fanboy style person. So the Star Wars and Star Trek, the guys who go to Comic-Con. I believe, and I mean, I'm a little bit like that myself. It's giving as much information about the entire universe as possible. So by developing an initial website, which is the first point of contact, you in grey area in the universe. But then, of course, there's going to be a big parent company, the Monsanto, the Wayland Corp.
Because you're like you belong to the mercenary group, which is the Grey Corporation or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's Grey Area Protective Services. Right, okay. So you're a new recruit for the Grey Area Protective Services. Now they're owned by D. Baxter Drake Industries, or dbaxterdrake.com. All of these.
And they have their own website.
And they have their own website because they're into all sorts of research and crazy sort of thing. But of course, they're just the big parent company. There's the Research Institute where all the medical stuff goes on. It's a zombie event, of course.
A virus gets leaked and
of course, it's what happens. Yeah. So there's the dbdresearchinstitute.com that has its own website, a lot of content on there, which is all relating to the Lazarus Project. The Lazarus Project is what happened in the warehouse that you as a Grey Area member are going in to cleanse. And of course,
and you've also got the conspiracy theorist.
Of course, what big parent company isn't without its conspiracy theorists? So any sort of articles that are written on the research industry or anything like that, you'll find a corresponding one, and he's a nutbag, absolute nutbag.
When I talk about online marketing, I'm always pushing the idea of shareable. Make what you do shareable. Empower your target audience to do your marketing for you. You did a bit of that too, didn't you?
Yeah, well, the other thing that I really wanted to push was user-generated content. Because if I could get you to do something and push that to your friends, it means I don't have to do it, and your friends are more likely to listen to it and react on it. So for us, the big component was on video. So we allowed, we gave the opportunity to have helmet cameras, so everyone that goes through it can record the event. It was an added revenue stream for the company. It was minor, but it allowed them to film it. So once they'd filmed it, people were cutting together their own films and posting them up on YouTube. And if you go to YouTube and I think Patient Zero, you'll find maybe 10.
And I know that if I went into the effort to do all that and cut it up, I would be showing everyone and anyone that would listen, my work colleagues, my sister-in-law, my grandparents, if they're still around to enjoy it. So it became a shareable revenue stream. You mentioned that it's at the end of the series. What next for the business? Where's it going to go?
Well, there's the main problem with the current event is that the warehouse is due to be torn down.
Oh no!
I know. So there's a chance that the gods may shine on us, and there could be an extension of the actual event where there'll be maybe a change up of the layout, the style, the guns, and a little bit of an update. It might go for a little bit longer. It was also looking to maybe move to Sydney for a short period and then tour around the country.
Be like damn Cirque du Soleil.
That's the idea.
One in every city. Well, I'm very disappointed to hear that it could be in trouble in Melbourne because I haven't got to go yet. But me and 5 mates, because there's teams of 6, get to go do it. But check it out, irlshooter.com. A fascinating story in terms of a bunch of people came up with an idea that seemed outrageous, posted it on Pozible, a crowdfunding site, managed to raise $250,000 relatively quickly through people who are passionate about it, and then of course a great marketing story, empowering people to do the marketing for you by creating something remarkable, a deep, multi-leveled story that's worthy of being remarked about, i.e., being remarkable. Thanks so much, Ben.
Thanks.
And thanks for bringing more zombies into the world.
I can only do my best.
Signing off.